Welcome to the 2010s in musical theater history. This was a great decade for the musical. And we are going to start with 2013. The Bridges of Madison County opened on Broadway, a wonderful show. This is called It All Fades Away. There was something in the desert. There was something wild and green, and a child in a village I passed through. There are places I have traveled, and so many things I've seen, and it all fades away, but you. I was sliding down a mountain, I was burning in the sun, I was crying with amazement at the view. I was capturing a moment, but when all is said and done, well, it all fades away, but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you. I have sailed across the oceans, past the cities and the farms, on a never-ending quest for something new. But the only thing that mattered was the 4 days in your arms, 'cause it all fades away, but you. It all fades away. It all fades away, it all fades away, but you. There is something that's eternal, that cannot be torn apart. There is something that remains forever true. Past the thinking, past the breathing, past the beating of my heart, and it all fades away, but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you. It all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you. But you, but you. You. A wonderful musical written by Jason Robert Brown, and it was a pleasure to sing that for you. Also in 2013, another really wonderful musical opened on Broadway called The Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. This was a show unlike any other show from that decade, and this is a wonderful song called Foolish to Think. It's about a guy who is in love with a girl outside of his station, or so he's being told. And we're going to do this for you right now. It's called Foolish to Think. Foolish to think she would marry you. Why would she sink so low? You've only a claim to a noble old name. Who could blame her for saying no? Foolish to dream she's in love with you. You're a fool to believe that kiss. The man who inspires such breathless desires, well, that's the man to dismiss. Foolish to hope she would ever see all that you really are. A man with no trade is no match, I'm afraid, for a blade in a motor car. He'll go far. Foolish to pray you will ever be the fellow she might prefer. Let's have a drink. It's foolish to think you'll ever stop loving her. On a mythical scale, the dice quiths prevail on a hill just outside of town. In a castle they love that is so far above, they're accustomed to looking down. But the family ordains that the blood in my veins is all but a trifle impure. They conspired with each other, condemning poor mother to a heartbreaking life she could hardly endure. With no conscience or care, they disposed of an heir from their glorious family tree. Should I lie down and die, or determine to try to alter the course of my destiny? Otherwise, what will become of me? Am I foolish to think I could ever be? Will I never be more than I am today? I can see me as a man of respect you could never detect, had once been so heartlessly cast away. Am I foolish to dream I'll be Earl one day, a towering man among men? But who could deny? Now and then pigs can fly. Who will look foolish then? Who will look foolish then? Really interesting music. I'm so glad to sing that. All right, Kathy, you're going to talk about our next song. Why don't you go ahead and take it?
In 2013, Cinderella opened on Broadway, and I was lucky to get to be one of the pianists for that show, rehearsal pianist, and I subbed in the pit. Our music director was the fantastic Andy Einhorn, who is famous, and we know him, so we feel very fortunate. And his mother is a very good supporter of our show, so good evening, Joanne Einhorn, and thank you for supporting us so much. There's a beautiful song in Cinderella that I asked Brian to sing for you tonight called There Is Music in You. It's sung by the fairy godmother who's trying to buck up Cinderella and give her some courage. So Brian is our fairy godmother for the evening. There is music in you.
beyond the voice that keeps insisting no. There is something more than doubting, breaking through the darkness, something that sets your world aglow. Someone wants you, you know who. Now you're living, there's music in you. Now you're hearing something new, someone playing the music in you. Now you're living, you know why. Now there's nothing you won't try. Move a mountain, light the sky, make a wish come true. There is music in you. Now you can go wherever you want to go. Now you can do whatever you want to do. Now you can be whatever you want to be. And love is the song you will sing your whole life through. Move a mountain, light the sky, make a wish come true. There is music in you. Beautiful song. Cinderella. Yes. Okay, now we're going to move on to 2015. In the last couple of decades, a lot of pop stars have been creating musicals. This one is called Waitress, and it opened on Broadway in 2015, written by Sarah Bareilles. This is the female lead song, She Used to Be Mine, and we thought this would be really fun to represent that. It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me, that these shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person and makes her believe it's all true. Now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two. For the girl that I knew who was reckless just enough, who gets hurt but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love. And then she feels stuck and is scared of the life that's inside her, getting stronger each day till it finally reminds her to fight just a little to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but it used to be mine. It used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. Really wonderful song from a great show called Waitress. Okay, so now we're going to give a shout out to the West End in London. In 2010, Andrew Lloyd Webber's sequel to Phantom of the Opera opened. It's called Love Never Dies. This is the Phantom's song that he sings. It's the prologue of the show, and it's 10 years later, and we find him all alone. This is When I Hear You Sing. The day starts, the day ends, time crawls by, night steals in, pacing the floor, the moments creep, yet I can't bear to sleep till I hear you sing, and weeks pass and months pass, seasons fly, still you don't walk through the door, and in a haze I count the silent days till I hear you sing once more. And sometimes in nighttime I dream that you are there. I wake holding nothing but the empty air. And years come and years go, time runs dry, still I ache deep in my core. My broken soul can't be alive and whole till I hear you sing once more. And music, your music, it teases at my ear. I turn
and it fades away, and you're not here. Let hopes pass, let dreams pass, let them die. Without you, what are they for? I'll always feel no more than halfway real till I hear you sing once more.
What a song, right? Andrew Lloyd Webber does it again. Okay, Kathy's going to talk about our next song. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, you may have heard of a show called Hamilton, which won the Tony for Best Musical in 2016. There's a piece in Hamilton sung by King George III. He's talking to the colonists saying, you people in your little revolution, when you finish with that and when it's not successful, you'll be back.
You say the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your tea, which you hurl in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be back, soon you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You'll remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. We have seen each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. Da 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 da. You say our love is draining and you can't go on. You'll be the one complaining when I am gone. And no, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject. My sweet, submissive subject. My loyal, royal subject. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. For your love, for your praise, and I'll love you till my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad, so don't throw away this thing we had. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da da. Everybody da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 da. what a great musical. If you have not seen Hamilton, please do. Okay, now we're going to 2012. Another great show written by a pop star. This one was Cyndi Lauper. She wrote an incredible musical called Kinky Boots. This is a show about acceptance. And it's also a show about the father-son relationship. And there is a gorgeous song called Not My Father's Son that we're going to perform for you now. When I was just a kid, everything I did was to be like him. Under my skin, my father always thought if I was strong and fought, not like some albatross, I'd begin to fit in. Look at me, powerless and holding my breath, trying hard to repress what scared him to death. It was never easy to be his type of man, to breathe freely was not in his plan. And the best part of me was what he wouldn't see. I'm not my father's son. I'm not the image of what he dreamed of, with the strength of Sparta and the patience of Job. Still couldn't be the one to echo what he'd done and mirror what was not in me. So I jumped in my dreams and found an escape. Maybe I went to extremes of leather and lace, but the world seemed brighter 6 inches off the ground, and the air seemed lighter. I was profound, and I felt so proud just to live out loud. I'm not my father's son. I'm not the image of what he dreamed of, with the strength of Sparta and the patience of Job. Still couldn't be the one to echo what he'd done and mirror what was not in me. The endless torrent of expectations swirling inside my mind wore me down. I came to a realization, and I finally turned around to see that I could I'm not my father's son. I'm not the image of what he dreamed of, with the strength of Sparta and the patience of Job. Still couldn't be the one to echo what he'd done and mirror what was not in me. Cyndi Lauper wrote an incredible musical, Kinky Boots. Okay, we're at our last song, and I have asked a huge favor of Kathy Venable, this amazing, incredible artist we have with us, to play something from 2012, or 2011, excuse me, The Book of Mormon opened on Broadway. I have my daughter Rose to thank for my falling in love with this musical. It is a show that really makes fun of everything and everybody. This is a wonderful song that I'm so excited to perform for you. Kathy's going to be playing like a million different parts. I'm going to be playing a few parts as well. This is called The All-American Prophet, and I think we're ready to do it. Kathy, what do you think? Should we go for it? How are you feeling?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. You all know the Bible is made of testaments old and new. You've been told there's just those two parts, or only one if you're a Jew. But what if I were to tell you there's a fresh third part out there, which was found by a hip new prophet who had a little Donny Osmond flair. Have you heard of the All-American Prophet? The blonde-haired, blue-eyed voice of God. He didn't come from the Middle East like those other holy men. No, God's favorite prophet was All-American. Take you back to biblical times, 1823. An American man named Joe living on a farm in the holy land of Rochester, New York.
You mean the Mormon prophet Joseph Smith?
That's right, that young man spoke to God.
He spoke to God?
And God said, Joe, people really need to know that the Bible isn't two parts. There's a part 3 to the Bible, Joe. And I, God, have anointed you to dig up this part 3, which is buried by a tree on the hill in your backyard.
Well, God says go to your backyard and start digging? That makes perfect sense.
Joseph Smith went up on that hill and dug where he was told. And deep in the ground, Joseph found shining plates of gold. What are these golden plates? Who buried them here and why? Then appeared an angel. His name was Moroni. I am Moroni, the all-American angel. My people lived here long, long ago. This is the history of my race. Please read the words within. We were Jews who met with Christ, but we were all-American. But don't let anybody see these plates except for you. They are only for you to see. Even if people ask you to show the plates to them, don't. Just copy them onto normal paper. Even though this might make them question if the plates are real or not. This is sort of what God is going for. Joseph took the plates home and wrote down what he found inside. He turned those plates into a book. Then he rushed into town and cried, "Hey, God gave to me and gave me this blessed ancient tome. He commanded me to publish it and stick it in every home."
Wow, so the Bible's actually a trilogy? And the Book of Mormon as Return of the Jedi? I'm interested.
Now, many people didn't believe the prophet Joseph Smith. They thought he'd made up this part 3, which was buried by a tree on the hill in his backyard.
Liar.
But Joe said, "This is no lie, speak to God all the time," and he told me to head west. So I'll take my part 3 on the hill by the tree. Feel free if you'd like to come along with me to the promised land.
The Promised Land?
Paradise on the west coast, nothing but fruit and fields as far as the eye can see. Have you heard of the all-American prophet? He found a brand new book about Jesus Christ. We're following him to paradise. We call ourselves Mormons, and God's new religion is all-American.
Oh, how much does it cost?
The Mormons kept on searching for the place to settle down, but every time they thought they'd found it, they got kicked out of town. And even if people wanted to see the golden plates, Joseph never showed up. Now comes the part of our story that gets a little bit sad. On the way to the promised land, Mormons made people mad. Joseph was shot by an angry mob and knew he'd soon be done. "You must lead the people now, my good friend Brigham Young." "Oh God, why are you letting me die without having me show people the plates? They'll have no proof if I was telling the truth or not. They'll have to believe it just 'cause. Oh, I guess that's kind of what you were going for." Ooh. The prophet Joseph Smith died for what he believed in. But his followers, they kept heading west, and Brigham Young led them to paradise, a sparkling land in Utah they called Salt Lake City. And there, the Mormons multiplied and made big Mormon families generation to generation until finally they made me. And now it's my job to lead you where those early settlers were led long ago. Have you heard of the all-American prophet?
Kevin Grimes.
The next in line to be the voice of God. He's gonna do something incredible and be Joseph Smith again. 'Cause Kevin Price, the prophet, is all-American.
If you order now, we'll even throw in a set of steak knives.
All-American.